Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Northern Transmissions. Yes, it's been a while, and I thank you for tuning back in. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Shade from the San Francisco band The Fresh and Onlys right before their show with Clinic. So I hope you enjoy. You don't have to pray for beautiful skin when you live in a black coffin. You don't dwell on the days that you're in when you live in a black coffin. You don't have to be in that situation. And that was the Fresh and Onlys with their track Black Coffin off the 2009 release Gray-Eyed Girls. And you can find that on Woodcyst. I was going to say records and tapes, but I think we're out of that era. So just Google Woodcyst and you'll get it. We first talked about the some of the influences on the band, including the psychedelic sound, and we touched upon as well bands like Joy Division and Buzzcocks, which have a heavy influence on the guys.
I've always had issues with how we label psychedelic music in general, and I think it was George Harrison that said this, but he said, and I think it was George Harrison, but, psychedelic music is any music listened to under the influence of psychedelics. If you've ever gotten high or did mushrooms and listened to Buddy Holly, it's some of the most whacked shit that you've ever heard in your life, and it's really beautiful music. I think that the psychedelic state can be reached completely free of drugs, but I think it is more commonly refers to a way of listening to music that is where you've lowered your inhibitions to the point where your ego is removed and you're experiencing the music, with its maker, not to sound cheesy, but with the creator of the music. You're listening to it like they are, and that's what I've always kind of felt psychedelic music was. And again, some of the most traditional, like Eric Satie, the Gymnopedies, like that. To me, that's one. It's like a music that can alter, your being right in front of you. You know what I mean? If you're hearing that and you're really like letting the music, you're really absorbing it. So yeah, I always kind of take issue with psychedelic. I feel like I've never been a fan of the the incense and peppermint psychedelia, the strawberry alarm clock thing, and it's like, I like the Chocolate Watch Band and stuff like that, but, some of that stuff's a little too goofy, it's a little bit, like, what is it, Showbiz Pizza, the Pizza Time Players, so stuff's a little silly, but, the era of psychedelic music that most people, I think, are referring to when they refer to us as the San Francisco Hate Street thing, and that's definitely there. And I feel like it's just something that it always will be, for us.
I mean, because you're a musician and you know your way around the studio. You listen to an album like Unknown Pleasure or Closer, and the sounds you were pulling off. Does it?
Well, with Joy Division specifically, they had Martin Hannett, who was like completely one of the most innovative producers in the history of popular music. To me, he's as important a figure as like Gershwin. When it comes to music, he's but. With Joy Division, especially what's influenced our sound, it's more of a mood thing, where I love the hypnotic feeling that you get when you listen to a Joy Division song, especially something like what was the song that's coming to mind?
Artistic Atrocity.
No. Hold on a second.
Transmission.
Transmission is a good one, but more specifically,
He's lost control.
Shadow Play.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Shadow Play. It's like when you hear that song, it's. You really, if you close your eyes, you're completely, put into another place. And again, it's like I was saying earlier, that's a state where I like to be when I listen to music, if I can get there. I love that, just being transported, to a different time and especially a different place. I look for that every time I listen to any song. I want to feel like I'm somewhere else.
Thanks again for listening to Northern Transmissions. I hope you're enjoying my chat with Shade from the Fresh and Olneys. Next, we talked about being the backup band for the wonderful Sixto Rodriguez.
It was such an amazing experience playing with him. I certainly hope that his health permits us doing it again, and it's something we would probably at this point, we would, stop what we were doing just to do it, because it's like taking a musical field trip a little bit as a band, because everyone kind of, we play together all the time as a band, but it's like going into someone else's songs and doing what we do and trying to like translate what he's, hit from his songs, I hope that it happens again, but you never know.
He seemed like I met him after the show. He seemed like a really sweet.
He's incredibly sweet, man.
Yeah. Gentle and
oh yeah, totally.
Person.
He's a total time warp too, man. He's still there.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Let's check out another track from the band's 2010 release, Play It Strange. Let's listen to, and this is a really great song called Waterfall, and that's on the In the Red label.
Said
Next, we talked about working with producer Tim Green of the Fucking Champs on the latest release.
Well, he's been around for years in San Francisco, and I've really liked the work he did on the Lungfish record. He did the Comets on Fire records, which I really liked as well. And it was intriguing to work with someone that was a little, would be new to us, and have a completely different approach than we had, making our own records, doing it ourselves, and he's a great guy. And like when I talked to him the first time and I said, would you be interested in recording us, this is, he was like, well, send me some demos and see if we match. And I sent them to him and he loved them, and that was really exciting. And then I knew it was going to work, and it did. It worked great. I would love to work with him again in the future. But it was literally just out of being a fan of records that he had done, and he's around San Francisco, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to work with someone like him, because he's, someone who's made records that I like, and I'd actually played with him briefly in a band called Cite, and I played bass in that band, and he played guitar, and I was coming into that band as he was leaving, and we did a few shows together, and I liked him. I liked his personality. He's very stoic and very calming person, to be around, and I knew that would be conducive to making the record we were making,
Are you proud when influential publications heap praise on your music? Like your latest album, Play It Strange, is, some of them are calling it one of the year's best. How do you feel about that?
I'd love to think that it is. You always, no matter how, I think removed you try to be from, vulnerable to criticism or whatever, I still feel like no matter what, if you get a bad review, it just makes you feel bad, and it's, again, like I said, some of the, anything negative that I've seen on Play It Strange is like stuff that I didn't necessarily disagree with. Like, I'm like, yeah, you can find something that's a flaw in anything that you do, and fortunately, we haven't been slammed for anything like being unoriginal or soulless, and that's what would really bother me, But yeah, I like anytime a website or a blog or a magazine writes something good about us, that makes me happy, especially ones that I respect and appreciate, like that's, to me, it's really killer,
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't want to name any. But Pitchfork was saying your album, it's one of the, they were calling it one of the best of the year.
Yeah, that makes me feel good. And I mean, the thing is like that website, as cynical as people like to be about it, and as much as people resent its influence, they have some great writers there.
They do.
They have some really good writers, and it's just an easy thing to hate. It's just like people hating Vice magazine. It's just
people hate things because people hate success.
Yeah. People
really hate success.
Yeah, totally, they do.
One of the great parts of our conversation was about the artwork on the cover of Play It Strange.
The artist that did it is amazing. His name's Kevin E. Taylor, and the concept really, like, I knew that I wanted it to be a darker looking record cover. I wanted it to be something less busy than we've done in the past, not a whole lot of, I wanted it to be simple. And the inspiration really was I was just literally laying in bed at night thinking about it, because I was so overwhelmed with trying to figure it out, and I wanted it to be perfect because I felt like the record had a certain mood and a certain vibe, a very deserty, like sort of nighttime vibe, and I've always had a lot of romanticism about the desert. And I wanted to, I was thinking about like my favorite record covers and the moods, and I was thinking about like Slash records, like early 80s. I wanted this like total like Los Angeles 1984 Slash records kind of vibe, and the concept of us outside in the dark in a desert wearing masks came to mind, and I called Tim, who's really good friends with Kevin, the painter. And, we told him what we wanted, and I just described it to him really quick. And he literally drew it up in like 5 minutes. He's like, you mean like this? And, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking, and he went for it and painted it. And we actually have the painting still. So it's awesome, yeah.
Thanks again for listening to Northern Transmissions. That was The Summer of Love off the Play It Strange release. Next, we talked about the decision-making process in which songs to actually release, seeing as the band has put out quite a number of singles, EPs, and split sevens, as well as full-length CDs.
It's different every time. You know, a lot of times we never intentionally record anything. Recording just happens, and you know, we write and record typically at the same time. We're trying to cool our heels and not put out so much stuff, and we finally have caught up with everything that we had agreed to do, and now we're going at a much slower pace because I don't regret anything that we've put out. I'm proud of every single note that's hit the wax, but I don't want to become a band that oversaturates. I love bands that do that, but I feel like we've done it enough. And 2 years into our time of making music, I want to slow down and be patient and make every release a little more of an event for us and for people that like our music. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely we've done recordings and then looked at it and been like, man, this would actually be pretty good for that 7-inch we got asked to do. Right. That's definitely happened. I mean, it happened with Hozak, the newest single that just came out, and I was like, we recorded this. So they asked us to do a 7-inch, and we had just recorded this song. And I was like, that's a perfect song for that. But see, yeah, it does happen, but not always.
Here's Shade talking about the difference of being on the road versus the studio.
I personally enjoy the studio much more than playing live. Playing live is an entirely different animal. I love them both, but playing live is just so. It's exciting because it can go in any direction, whereas in the studio you're able to stop and start again, I like the danger of playing live, but, I prefer being in the studio. I like being creative in that way, and I try every night to reinvent the song when I'm playing, and, I play in a pop band. I play bass in a pop band. So it's a little difficult to, reinvent what I'm doing every night, and I've never been much of a stage moves guy or anything like that, but it's different, a different approach. But that's kind of a nice challenge to do, live. But I'd much rather be in the studio where I can play around.
We're not going to see the Pete Townsend windmill.
No knee drops for me tonight.
No knee drops. That's great.
Yeah.
Continuing on the live theme, we discussed. Being on the road with Clinic, for those of you who don't know, who always play with surgical masks on.
First of all, what does Clinic look like?
Dude, that was so
good-looking guys.
It's so funny you ask that because I've been a fan of that band for years, and I love them. I've seen them probably. Well, now I've seen them a ton, but I before the tour, I'd seen them probably, I'd say no less than 10 times. And I absolutely love their records, and I was so concerned that on the first day, the first show in New York, in New York at the Bowery Ballroom, I was going to walk in and they were going to have their mask off, and some sort of mystery would be gone for me, But man, I was like, is that one of them? And you kind of look at them, when I was first looking around the room and everyone's setting up equipment, and I'm like, wait, is that one of them? Doing this whole thing, and then they look like very normal dudes, and they're the sweetest band I think I've ever toured with. And if I could do another month with them, I would, because I never tire of seeing them. And to answer the question, the mystery is not destroyed at all. In fact, it's greater. I had no idea that they were such eccentrics. I thought that they were going to be more just normal kind of cynical dudes or something, but they are true eccentrics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and really, really brilliant. Getting to watch them sound check every night and then watch them play, it's just, for me, it's a wonderful experience, and I love them even more now.
Here's another track from the Fresh and Onlys. This is the track Gray-Eyed Girls off the 2009 album Gray-Eyed Girls. guys, I hope you're enjoying my interview with Shade from the Fresh and Olneys. In the final segment, we discussed the fate of the radio and music industry.
Obviously, the record industry is in a bit of a downturn, and you find it a little frustrating that that retailers are still charging like $20 for your CD.
Yeah, that's extremely frustrating, but I mean, it's like all part of, you know, the market and how it's set up. It's just not. That's why I don't criticize people for downloading, you know, something for free, because it's like, everyone's in a horrible recession right now. Music should be free. You know, and it's like I don't criticize anyone that would want to, if they're going to get a digital version of our album, to download it on some, you know, pirate website. I wouldn't criticize anybody for that at all. But me personally, like I like owning like vinyl, and so, you know, I don't I've never downloaded anything in my life, but I just buy a record if I want it, you know, and it's, you know, if it costs $20, then that's what I pay, you know, but if it costs $12, I'm much happier.
Yeah, true.
It is frustrating though, seeing a CD for $20 in this day and age. It's just like, come on, guys, get it together. You know?
Is there any future at all for radio?
I don't think that the kind of radio there's two different kinds. You know, there's college radio, which I'm perfectly happy with, and I get the biggest thrill when I hear that or hear our songs on the radio, you know, at a college radio station. When I'm recording a song, that idea, that romance definitely comes back to me. The idea of like hearing it back to back with something really cool. You know what I mean? Just hearing it come on like after a Suicide song or next to the Soft Boys, you know. It just that to me is like such a thrill, and I love college radio. It's like one of the best things, you know, ever.
Yeah.
As far as any sort of commercial success for us, I think it's very doubtful. You know, we're not what that kind of world is looking for, you know, and it's like, I'm fine with that, you know. I'm happy on college radio.
Thank you guys very much for listening to this edition of Northern Transmissions featuring Shade from the Fresh and Olneys. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks to producer extraordinaire Andrew Kallstrom, who obviously I could never get this done without, and my lovely partner in life, Heather DeLong, for other technical assistance. And yeah, we're going to close this out with Tropical Island Suite. Here it is. Thanks again.